Welcome to the Hunnid Yard Dash Football Podcast presented by the Chiefs Focus Network, where you talks about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all Hunnid yards in between. Without further ado, here's you.
Yo, what it do? This is the Hunnid Yard Dash Football Podcast presented by Chiefs Focus. And I'm talking about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all 100 yards in between. My name is you.
Detective, you? Not you, you. Who? You. Who? Do you understand the words that are coming out from my mouth?
Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. And I am your host. What's happening? What is up? I missed y'all last week. We didn't have a show last week. I didn't have a show last week. A lot of stuff going on, family and whatnot. So I had to kind of step back last week, but I'm back this week. So that's all that matters, right? At this point, that's all that matters. I am you. What it do? Where can you find this podcast? You can find this podcast most places you get your podcast. Again, this season, Chiefs Focus is doing something new. They're putting all their podcasts under one umbrella. So if you subscribe to Chiefs Focus podcast, you will find the 100 Yard Dash that way. Of course, you can subscribe on YouTube to watch it live. You could also subscribe to Chiefs Focus live because they will have it live as well. I do this about once a week, normally on Wednesdays. Sometimes I do it earlier, sometimes I do it later. If you set up notifications, you know when I'm on. And you can interact with the show, which I enjoy. StreamYard stream, Chiefs Focus Twitch stream, of course. Or you can hit up the Chiefs Focus YouTube page, like and subscribe as well. And again, thank you for listening. Let's get into it. So, of course, I got the rundown of the show. So we got the news, which I'm probably going to be doing throughout the show as opposed to right now. So news is going to be intertwined with the show. And, of course, the Week 7 recap and the close. So let's get on into it. First, we got the buys. I work on these graphics, and sometimes I forget to upload them, which is kind of nuts. But it is what it is on that front. But we got Week 7 buys. Let's see if this will come up quick enough. But anyway, Week 7 buys, and that includes, where are my notes? There they are. Carolina, Cincinnati, Dallas, Houston, New York Jets, and Tennessee. There it is. Those are the Week 7 buys. The Panthers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Jets, and the Titans. In my opinion, as far as records is concerned, the Panthers, I doubt they'll go winless because it's kind of difficult to do. But they don't look like a competent team. At this point, they almost look like they could possibly end up firing Matt Rule after 1 year because David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, doesn't really enjoy losing. And this is bad. They traded for the number 1 pick, traded a king's ransom for the number 1 pick, and they might end up having the number 1 pick this year. And you never know. But the Bengals, of course, they got their bye, which I think they needed, coming off 2 wins. Coming off 2 wins after a tumultuous tumultuous beginning of the season and a Joe Burrow injury, and then Jamar Chase yapping off at the mouth. Some stuff going on. So those are good for them to have those buys. Let's get on. Let's see. Yeah, let's get on into it. Why not? So Jacksonville beats up on the Saints in the Superdome, or I don't even know what they're calling it these days. So the Jags are obviously a good team. They're 5-2. The Saints are 3-4, and the Jags scored 31. Saints scored 24. And one thing back in the 90s when I was much younger, it used to be a league where it wasn't as focused on offense, and so I'd want to see somebody score consistently, a 28. These days that can happen, but like in this year, we've seen scoring and all that be down a little bit because the product seems to be a little, I don't know, marginalized. I don't know. But we see, I just wanted the Chiefs back in the day to just score a touchdown a quarter. And at that time in the 90s, that wasn't happening. We didn't have a dynamic offense. And if you scored a touchdown a quarter, which doesn't seem like much now, like I said, but back then it was a lot. And we finally made it there, but now it's like kind of marginalized. And that's what the Jags did. They scored a touchdown every quarter, ended up getting a field goal as well in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So the Jaguars, the Saints obviously try to do a comeback, but they scored like 15 in the fourth. They scored 2 touchdowns. They scored like 14 or 15 in the fourth quarter, and the Jags kind of let them stick around a little bit. They didn't even score anything, no touchdowns in the first 3 quarters at all. 3. That was it. They could have buried the Saints. They should have buried the Saints. The Jags did, but they let them come back and get within a touchdown. So, I mean, it is what it is, but Jags did win. They're 5-2, and that's all that matters. Let's keep it moving. The Atlanta Falcons beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 16-13. Falcons are 4-3. The Bucs are 3-3. Falcons win despite Des Ridder losing 3 red zone fumbles. Like when we talk about something that people can't stand, that's a morale killer right there. That is an absolute morale killer where you get into the red zone and you're ready to punch it into the end zone, and your QB loses a fumble 3 times straight up. But the defense kept it close, which, that's a complete football team. Anytime one side makes mistakes, the other side, has to pick up the slack that was there. And the defense kept them in this game, and they kept scoring. No touchdowns after the first quarter for either team. Just Falcons, straight up morale killer. Kicker saved the day. Young Ho Koo, what's up? The Bucs. I don't know if I told you the records, but the Falcons are 4-3. The Bucs are 3-3. Mayfield looked great driving down the field at the end of the game, but throwing that INT on the second of the last drive, that kind of hurt their chances to come back. It was. You want to talk about morale killer? There you go. And I'm thinking the Bucs might be starting to get frustrated, but you got your highs and lows with Baker Mayfield, and you got to deal with them. So, again, 3-3 for the Bucs, 4-3 for the Falcons. Let's keep it moving. So we got a division. That was by the by that Atlanta Falcons Tampa Bay Bucks game. That was the NFC South division game. Yeah, that was the NFC South. Now this one is the AFC East division game, where the Patriots actually beat the Buffalo Bills 29-25. The Bills are 4-3. The Patriots are 2-5. This game actually lives right up to my expectations in a couple ways, and let me explain. The Patriots, I expected this Mac Jones to be at the beginning of the season. This Mac Jones that you saw in this game is the same guy that I expected to be throughout the season. What do I mean, or why? Bill Belichick got him two big targets in Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki. Hunter Henry hasn't been that great of a tight end in his career because he's been injured a lot. But Gesicki is an absolutely good tight end. Been a good tight end since he got out of college. Not the greatest, but not the worst either. You know, he makes plays, right? And Bill Belichick went and got these two guys. Not the second coming of Gronk or Aaron Hernandez or he who shall not be named. Let's leave it at that. They're not the second coming of those two, but these are two good pass catchers. But guess what the Patriots don't have? Aside from Kendrick Bourne. Good pass catchers. So these will be huge targets with big hands, soft hands that can stretch the field in space. And so I thought this would be a different. I expected this Mac Jones that we saw in this game to be the same Mac Jones all season. Hasn't really turned out that way. That's why the Patriots are 2-5. You know, that might be just the sign of Bill Belichick having to relinquish a little bit of duties, but we will see how that's going to work. For the Bills can be the 16-0 2007 Patriots, right? They can beat them, is what I meant. They can beat the 16-0 2007 Patriots. And then the next week just not show up to play versus the 2023 Panthers or the 2022 Bears or the 2021 Jaguars, all of which who had the next year's number one draft pick. They can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody too. And they are so inconsistent with their wins. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's the cause of it. It's easy to blame Josh Allen, and I feel like it's deeper than that, although I have no proof, but it feels like it's deeper than just Josh Allen. And of course, if I'm just going deeper than that, where would I have to go? It would have to go to coaching personnel, obviously. I'm not going to blame the owner. The owner only pays for talent. And the GM and the head coach have to get together and figure all the rest of it out. At this point, what is stopping the Bills? I don't know how their season will end. Obviously, I can't see the future. What do I look like, Miss Cleo? No. But if they lose in the divisional round of the playoffs again, if they don't make it back to at least the AFC Championship, is it time to just break the band up and figure out something else? The Falcons went through this years ago. Mike Smith was taking them to the playoffs, taking them deep runs, and just not getting there. They got rid of them, and then here we are. At what point do we just break this thing up because we're just not going anywhere? Yeah, you're making the playoffs, but with a talent like Josh Allen, you're supposed to make the playoffs. With all the money you spent on Von Miller and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Like, you're supposed to make the playoffs. What are you talking about? If I don't make the playoffs, there's something that's gone epically wrong. Epically wrong. And so the Bills have to figure out what is the cause of their trauma or the drama, because they are 4-3. Don't get me wrong, though that's a good record, but they're supposed to be better than this, and they're the ones continuously getting talent, proven talent. I.e., they've gotten Von Miller, who I don't think he's been back since his injury last season, but his time is coming to be back. But anyway, we keep it moving. The Cleveland Browns beat the Indianapolis Colts 39-38. Browns are 4-2. The Colts are 3-4. The Browns defense continues to carry the team. They got $200+ million man, but the defense is the one that's really carrying the weight. The only time people bring up how much you make for real, the only time people bring up how much you make via your production is because you're not producing up to the talent that you are getting, up to the number that you're getting paid. That's the only time people bring up how much you make for real, for real. Back before the media got involved and started reporting salaries, Deshaun would just be another Jim McMahon. No big deal. No offense to Jim McMahon, but that's just a different time, different quarterback. But at this point, he'd be another Jim McMahon if there was no reporting on how much he made. But there is reporting of how much he made, and he should be carrying more weight than he actually is doing right now with this team. They're 4-2. Don't get me wrong. But that is coming much differently than is expected. If I knew that I had a top 5 defense that could carry me in games, and I didn't have to spend $250 million, $240, whatever it is, on a QB that is not really putting up any great numbers at all. In fact, let me look it up. I don't think Deshaun Watson has had a stellar throwing game this season. And I don't know if that guy is coming back. I don't know if the guy that we saw in Houston is ever going to come back. Not sure. 154 yards, 235 yards, 289 yards against Tennessee, which is fine. Yeah, the 300-yard guy, I don't know if that guy's ever coming back. He was close in Tennessee, but he was injured the last 2 games. So I don't know if that guy's ever coming back. But I know, had they been able to look into the future, that's so Raven. Had they been able to look into the future, they probably would have gone a different route. Now, the Colts, Ballard, the GM, Chris Ballard cannot catch a break. He takes the GM job because of Andrew Luck. Seriously, he took the job because of Andrew Luck. Luck retires because he doesn't have a love for football anymore. Ballard's scared to pick a draft pick that is a quarterback. He finally gets a quarterback from the draft and in Anthony Richardson, and he's out before the bye. If it wasn't for bad luck, sometimes you'd have no luck. No luck. Get it? Shut up. Anyway. I'm a dad of 5. Leave me alone. Dad joke. Anywho, yeah, Ballard can't catch a break. So they lose 39-38. And it is what it is. Let's keep it moving. The Ravens knock out the Lions' tooth with this win. The Detroit Lions lose to the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens scored 38. Lions scored 6. And Both teams are 5-2. With the Lions, a lot of people have lost confidence in them after this loss. I still have confidence in the Lions. I do think they got exposed a bit, but they're not frauds. I don't think they're frauds. The real test is going to be how they bounce back after this loss, because they didn't even score a touchdown in this loss, and the defense could stop the Ravens from doing whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. So the Lions, who I thought I had the next few opponents, but the Lions have some athletic quarterbacks coming up on their schedule, and Lamar is obviously an athletic quarterback, and so let's see, you got Justin Herbert, you got Fields, which obviously is a division game. Fields again. They got some talented quarterbacks, not to the level of freaking Lamar Jackson, but definitely got some talented quarterbacks coming up. So talented athletic quarterbacks. And some of these teams are desperate. So the Lions going to have to watch out for that. As for the Ravens, this was a strong showing for the Ravens. It still leaves me with questions, but it shows how good they can be, especially considering the record, right? They lost to the Colts without Anthony Richardson and then the division opponent Steelers. But the record of 5-2 says that you're on top of the AFC. You're with the top dogs in the AFC. So at some point, that's got to count for something. And I'm letting it count for something. So with that being said, let's keep it moving. The Las Vegas Raiders lose to the Chicago. Stop. The Las Vegas Raiders lose to the Chicago Bears in the scores. Chicago Bears 30, Raiders 12. The Chicago Bears are 2-5. The Raiders are 3-4. The Raiders lost to Tyson Bagent, a rookie quarterback from a Division II school, is the one that beat them. And it sounds like Raiders fans are finally sick of McDaniels, calling for immediate firing. In my opinion, I already knew McDaniels was bad. As the Raiders, you already saw it when he was with Denver. But I don't know, maybe they should have kept Rich Bisaccia. But the thought of something new probably was a blinder to them. But the Bears O-line, let's talk about that. The Bears O-line only allowed 1 sack and 3 QB hits. So let's talk about the Bears. Maybe it's better if they have a traditional quarterback or one with less of a running style. For one, it will probably help keep him with less injuries. That's the hope. The hope is that will keep him with less injuries. And then again, with the Bears O-line, if they only allow 1 sack and 3 QB hits in this one, yeah, the Raiders aren't the best pass rushing team. However, they do have Max Crosby. Their rookie defensive end from somewhere. It's escaping me. But Ty, I don't know. But their rookie defensive end is not showing up like he was expected to. But Max Crosby is still that dude. And they only allowed the Bears O-line only allowed 1 sack and 3 QB hits. When Justin Fields gets hit a lot, mainly because he's a runner. But maybe this Bears O-line is not suited for Justin Fields. Maybe it's suited for a more traditional quarterback like your Flacco, like your, not a statue in the pocket. Maybe somebody that's more of a field general that stays in the pocket, and they can figure it out from there. That way, when your offensive line knows where you are, it's a lot easier to protect you. When you're all over the pocket and sometimes break it, it's difficult for them to know where you are. So maybe they do need another quarterback that's a little bit more traditional. But either way, we keep it moving. The Washington Commanders. Oh my. The Washington Commanders lose to the New York Giants. Giants score 14. Commanders score 7. The Commanders are 3-4. The Giants are 2-4.
Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders.
Yeah, man. So the Commanders 1-15 on third downs in this game. 1 of 15 on third downs. Of course, Magic Johnson is part of the ownership group that is with that just took over the Commanders. Yeah. As much work as Bieniemy put in there, he only has a year. It's over. I think it's over. It's over. Bieniemy's probably gone after the season. Ron Rivera should have been gone last year. It's over for the Commanders as far as their head honchos over there. This isn't a game. Not only is this a division game, but this is a game to a team you shouldn't have lost to. And while I applaud the efforts of Bieniemy getting there and trying to change the culture, there's only so much you're going to be able to change with this one, especially in 1 year, and you think you might have two. But if you looked at it objectively, Rivera wasn't going to last long, whether they had another head coach, another ownership group or not. There we go. Whether they had another ownership group or not, he wasn't going to last long. Ron Rivera has only made the playoffs with this team once, and that was he backed into the playoffs on that one. This team is not good. The color scheme is super nice. I love the color scheme, but that's the only thing good about the Commanders at this point. The New York Giants started Tyrod Taylor. It's pronounced Tyrod. And I don't think Tyrod will ever be a starter again, okay? However, he can and should make his case about being someone's older version of Geno Smith. I think Daniel Jones is out for quite a while, and Tyrod could actually play himself into some situation where he might get $20 million for a year as a team maybe is trying to get a bridge quarterback. But for this year, take the shots, man. Tyrod, this is your team. I don't think they gave him a shot with the Bills. He punctured his lung with the coaching staff, not the coaching staff, the medical staff punctured his lung with a needle back when he was with the Chargers, because he would have got a shot there and he wasn't able to play. And then, they discovered Justin Herbert, and the rest is history. Tyrod, I doubt he'll ever be a starter again, but he can make a case for himself in this showing, because I don't know how long Daniel Jones is out for. So I just think he should take advantage of the situation and see where it leads. Let's keep it moving. The Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks, AFC West showdown. Um, Unfortunately, there's some news. Nuoso is out for the season with a torn pectoral muscle. Um, for the Seahawks, which sucks because I think he's a great player. And the Cardinals scored 10. The Seahawks scored 20. Seahawks are 4-2. Cardinals are 1-6. The Cardinals just don't have a lot of talent on this team at all. They're trying though, and I don't know if I'm Kyler Murray. I know you're trying to act like you want to be. I mean, like you're part of the team and all that jazz. But why would you come back to this? I think it's a legitimate question. Why would you even worry about coming back to this? This version of the team. Why would you even worry about coming back to it? To get yourself hurt again? Because there's nothing really. There's no aside from their never give up spirit. There's nothing really redeeming about this whole team. Yeah, I said it. There. There's nothing really redeeming about them. Besides that whole never give up spirit, which I applaud, but me applauding their never give up spirit ain't helping them win nothing. And wins are what matters in this league. So, if that's the case, then why would I come back if I'm the quarterback? I don't know. So we'll figure it. I mean, hey, y'all know better than me. Anyway, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Los Angeles Rams 24-17. Steelers are 4-2, surprising to me, and the Rams are 3-4. When I say the Steelers are 4-2, surprising to me, I'm talking about I didn't realize. I knew they were good. Don't get me wrong. Rarely is a Mike Tomlin team bad. But I didn't realize their record was 4-2. I thought it was like 3 and something. But hey, more power to you, Rams. I mean, more power to you, Steelers. 4-2. They're atop the AFC North. Hold on. Steelers. And what the thing about this means that is that with the Ravens are atop of the AFC North because they're 5-2 because the Steelers had a bye. So with the Ravens at 5-2, of course they're number one. They got a win streak. They got a 2-game win streak. Everybody in that division is on a 2-game win streak, which I think that's coming to an end because I think they play each other at some point. I think this upcoming week. I haven't looked at it, but the Ravens are 5-2. The Steelers are 4-2. The Browns are 4-2, and the Bengals are 3-3. We can't talk about it because the Bengals they were on the bye this week. Well, I think it's time to ask the question: are the Bengals going to make the playoffs? I mean, are they? And as much as as much as other teams don't want other teams to have good draft picks, as much as we don't want that to happen, there's no guarantee that this stuff is going to work out. People applauded the Chiefs and I'm throwing the Chiefs out there because I know about them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It ain't it. Tyree Wilson, that's the guy I was thinking about with the Raiders. I applauded them for getting Tyree Wilson. I think I got the last name correct. The Raiders for getting Tyree Wilson, and then they had Chandler Jones, Tyree Wilson, and then Max Crosby. Thought they finally got the man some help. Yeah, the season proved otherwise. Now they only got Max Crosby because Tyree Wilson ain't doing nothing. Anything can happen. Look, personally, I'm cool with, as a Chiefs fan, which I have every right to be. I'm cool with the Bengals not making the playoffs. It don't matter to me, But the idea of them being in the running for Marvin Harrison Jr. is pretty deafening. It's pretty bad. But back to what I was saying, the AFC North. This seems like one of the more tougher divisions in football. Yeah. Everybody except for the Bengals has a winning record. And we got a long way to go, folks. So relax. We got about 9 games left. Not 8 or 9 games left. 9 games. 9 or 10 games. There we go. 9 or 10 games left. Maybe even 11 for some teams. So anything can happen. Anything. Let's see. Interesting. But we keep it moving. Oh, did I finish? Let me see if I finished my thoughts here. Oh, the Rams. Let's talk about the Rams. I didn't talk about the Rams, who are now 3-4. The Rams, who are 3-4, they're in that division with obviously the Cardinals and the Seahawks and the 49ers. 49ers looked like one of the best teams in football 2 weeks ago. They've been knocked down a peg because they're now currently on a 2-game losing streak. The only team that's worse as far as the streak is concerned is the Packers, who are on a 3-game, or the Panthers. The Panthers go on a 6-game losing streak. But other than that, the Packers are on a 3-game losing streak in the NFC, and that's it. So, with that being said, the 49ers are being knocked down a peg right now with losing 2 games. They were atop the NFC West, and they were running away with it at one point. That's what it seemed like. So Seahawks are literally 1 win behind them. They win this next week. We'll see what happens. But the Rams are very much in it. The Rams are very much in the race for this one, and all they need is the 49ers to slip up one more time, and they need to win one more time, and just keeps going like that. So the Rams got to figure out how to stack up some wins here. They got the Packers. They got the bye week after that. Then they have the division, the Seahawks and the Cardinals, which are 2 games you should absolutely throw everything into to win those games. Maybe not throw everything into them, but throw some stuff into that. They got the Cowboys, too, which is going to be a tough one. So, the NFC West is a pretty tough division because the Rams got to figure something out. Being 3-4, they're on the losing record right now. So they got to figure something out. Let's go to the Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos actually beat the Packers 19-17. The Broncos are 2-5. The Packers are 2-4. Again, I'm gonna ask. I don't know. I'm just asking. Is Matt LaFleur a good coach? Because, again, it's easy to coach guys like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, so forth, so on, what have you. Because they're pretty much field generals. You're not having to teach them anything. They were old dogs when LaFleur got there. So they knew what they were doing. And now we see Jordan Love and this struggle central to me. That's what I see. I could be wrong, but that's what I see. And obviously Kareem Jackson is suspended for the Broncos, but the Broncos finally get their second win. They're super happy, and I think this is actually going to make them try to keep some of their guys instead of trade them, because the trade deadline is a little bit less than a week from today. So, a lot of people think they'll trade off Marvin Harrison, not Marvin Harrison, I'm sorry. Think they'll trade off the cornerback, Patrick Surtain, the second. They think they'll try to trade him off, which is kind of wild to me. If they do, that's wild to me. What else will happen? Trade off Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, so many other teams. But this win here makes me think they might still try to go for something for not just this year, but next year. And then they might trade them off in the offseason. Who knows? But I'm interested to figure out what's going to happen, because the Broncos haven't made any deals yet. And they're needed. Deals are needed in Broncos country. But we keep it moving. The Chiefs whoop up on the Chargers 31-17. The Chiefs are 6-1. The Chargers are 2-4. Of course, you all heard in the news that Justin Ross was arrested. I don't know much more than that. We're not going to get into it here. I'm going to let things come out and we'll see what happens. But let's talk about the game. Mahomes, 32 of 42, 424 yards. If I'm not mistaken, that is a top stat in the NFL for this week. Now, it's Wednesday. I don't think they've sent out anything quite yet as far as the player of the week. But I don't think anybody threw for more than that this week. I could be wrong, but I don't think anybody threw further than that. If they did, kudos to them. But back to what I was saying. Travis Kelce, 12 receptions, 179 yards, and a TD. Oh, by the by, Mahomes did throw an interception. Yeah, it is what it is. Did I say the records? The Chiefs are 6-1, the Chargers are 2-4. Does this mean it's all good in Kansas City and we can go back to normal and watch the Chiefs run away with it? I hope so, but I doubt it. Honestly, the Chiefs have one of the better defenses in the league. They got a Minihue back for this game, and he was a difference maker. He had a sack and a tipped pass that ended up being an interception. However, the Chiefs' offense played against a bad Chargers team. Chargers' defense is not that great, and we don't play them again until the end of the season. So it's not like they'll get us back. We could potentially wrap up this division if we take care of the Broncos next week and one game of the Raiders. And then we should probably, with our record, be able to lock up the division AFC West for the 8th consecutive year. So, it is what it is. So, does that mean we can go back to normal with the offense? I don't know. But anytime Travis Kelce plays out his shoes like this, it gets everybody else open, like wide open. So it'll be nice to get back to normal when you play teams like the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the Bills. Although they're not at the top of their game, it'll be nice to be able to have some semblance of yourself. Defense, they deserve a lot of credit. Chiefs defense deserves a lot of credit. I don't know what to tell you about the Chargers. They aren't a great team this year. I think it's finally come to a head with Brandon Staley. I don't think he'll last for another year. 2-4, it's hard to come back. You've already got one division loss. And the Chiefs going to win another one. I firmly believe that as far as the AFC West is concerned. Yeah, I'm interested to see if they decide to fire him, how bad it's going to have to get before they fire him. We'll see, though. We'll see. Let's keep it moving. Sunday Night Football, the Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, news, the Eagles are sending safety Terrell Edmonds plus 2 draft picks, 2024 5th and the 6th round selection to the Titans for their safety, their strong safety. Oh, I didn't write all that down, but they send them to them for the safety. So the Dolphins so if you look at it, it just seems like the Dolphins were just bullying people. Obviously, you don't bully people that you can't beat. You bully teams you bully people that you can. The Chargers, they beat the Chargers, whooped up on them. The Chargers are currently 2-4. They beat the Patriots. They're 1-5. Their first win came in week 6. The Broncos, they're 1-5. Their first win came in week 4 or something like that. The Giants are 2-5, and the Panthers are 0-6. Those are the teams that the Dolphins beat. You can only play who's on your schedule, right? But we paint the Dolphins as such a scary team. But they haven't played anybody. Like, the guys that they whoop up on are guys with losing records. And they have a losing record for a reason. Now, they get to guys like the Eagles, and then they do this. Does this mean I'm discounting the Dolphins? Absolutely not. I think the Dolphins are a really, really, really good team. I love what Mike McDaniel schemes up. And they find great ways to win. And they're trying to find their ways to be great. But at this point, I just think that they're they can be at a crossroads. Do you pay Tua? Do you continue to keep Tua? Even though you're beating teams like this. This is the problem, and it seems like I'm going a little bit longer, but bear with me. This is the problem that the Giants had 2 years ago that duped them into paying Daniel Jones this last offseason. Daniel Jones had one amazing year with Brian Daboll, and now look at him. And they paid that man the going rate. I'm not saying Tua's not worth it. What I am saying is that they need to think more critically about this and figure it out before they sink over $200 million into the man. You never know what'll happen, but just think about it. Eagles. Are we still a little worried about the Eagles and their production? I am not. When you lose guys like Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, who are the teams, Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen, who the former offensive and defensive coordinator. When you lose guys like that, you're definitely not going to just be as competitive out the gate. It is what it is. But the Eagles are still 6-1. Please understand that. It's going to take some time for them to figure things out. Some things they want to do hasn't meshed well. Some other things have. You just got to figure it out. And that's what they're doing. They scored 31 against this Eagles team, and they hold them to below 21 points, which is a big deal. Let's keep it moving. The Minnesota Vikings beat the San Francisco 49ers, and if I told you this was without Justin Jefferson, would you believe me? In a normal circumstance, you probably wouldn't. But the 49ers, who felt like they were just undefeated 2 weeks ago, have now lost 2 in a row. And one of those roles is within their conference. One of those losses was in their conference, which is this one, the Vikings. So, it never, for me, I've always said it never pays to be undefeated. Or unless you're trying to go for the 17-0, the full season, trying to go for 17-0 and you're trying to go for 17-0 and win the Super Bowl. Unless you're actively trying to go for that, it doesn't pay to be undefeated. It doesn't pay to be undefeated late in the season. You put so much into being undefeated. It's exhausting. It looks exhausting. It feels exhausting. And I never experienced it personally, but it looks like it's exhausting. I remember when the Chiefs did it. I remember when the Patriots did it. They put so much into it, and it just like they ran out of steam. They won those last few games, but they ran out of a lot of steam, and it takes so much out of you. And while I do think the 49ers are the better team, but the Vikings won this game, and it just feels like they need to be rejuvenated, like they need a week off to reconnect, revitalize themselves. The 49ers do. With the Vikings are working their way back to 500. And surprisingly, they're able to do it without Justin Jefferson. Addison picked up where Jefferson left off. He had 7 receptions in this game for over 100 yards, 123 yards, if I'm not mistaken. And he had 2 touchdowns. Addison has been up and down with production all season, but this is his first over 100-yard game of his career and his first multiple TD game of his career. So not having Justin Jefferson could really kind of help in this situation, really. And who knows what can happen when Justin Jefferson does come back. So this could be a building stone for the Vikings, but they got to make sure that they incorporate him in this offense, Jordan Addison, that I'm talking about, the rookie. So the Vikings got to figure it out. They are in a division in the the NFC North. The NFC North. So they are not too far away from the Lions. The Lions got 2 losses. So, at this point, it seems like you're far away. But then, you keep stacking wins, you can end up seeing that you're closer than you thought. They're right behind the Lions with 3 losses. So they're 2 losses behind the Lions, but they literally won 2 in a row, while the Lions lost 1. So keep stacking wins. Don't worry about the Lions if I'm the Vikings. Don't worry about the Lions. Just make sure you stacking wins for yourself, and then you can figure it out later. That is Week 7 recap. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. It's been a crazy week. It was a crazy week for me last week, so I appreciate you sticking with me on the 100-yard dash. Again, this is the 100-yard dash. I'm talking about the NFL from end zone to end zone and all 100 yards in between. This is a part of Chiefs Focus, and there is this little sign up here, right there. Yeah, there we go. And that's PSF. Chiefs Focus and myself are part of PSF, which is Pro Sports Fans. You could go grab the app, and instead of having to listen to Tony Romo and Iron Eagle and all those guys, if you want to listen to them, that's fine. But you can go on here and Pro Sports Fans and get team-focused content during the game. You can get different commentary from fans. You can interact with the commentators. So much stuff is on there. So much content is on Pro Sports Fans app. You can download it on Android or Apple, either or. And I'll be on there tonight with the Chiefs Focus crew. And I'll be on there on Sunday when the Chiefs play again against the Broncos. So, Chiefs fans, you can join, but you can always join for your team as well, because they've got all 32 teams for different people. So Please check it out. Download the app. And, that's essentially all I have. If there is nothing else, please continue to like and subscribe the video. And with that being said, I'm out. Deuces.